That was a really puny woo-hoo. You know it's all about me, right? You know that. We're in recovery, right? You know that. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it. I am powerless over drugs and alcohol and codependency. My name is Arlene, and today I choose recovery. Say hi to me, friends. Woo, it's good to hear you say my name. I love when you say my name because I know I am in a safe place where recovery happens. It is the 4th of July today. Happy Independence Day. Yes, and for those who aren't in the least interested in history and what it all means, let me just give you the details of July 4th. The 4th of July is the day when, in 1776, what was at the time called the Continental Congress signed into effect the Declaration of Independence, saying that the United States was free from the rule of Great Britain and the United States officially became its own nation. We became free from the tyranny of another country telling us what to do, and we became free to make our own rules and laws and choices for ourselves. So the 4th of July is a day to celebrate freedom. Yay, freedom. You know, it's good to be here at CR for this lesson because Choose Recovery is all about freedom too. When you're in recovery from your addiction, affliction, and compulsive behavior, you get freedom from the power and devastation of your sickness, and it also gives you freedom to live a happy, joyous, and free life. So in our United States government in 1776, we needed to figure out not only how to get our freedom, but what to do with it after we got it. And as to how they all decided what to do with it and how well they're doing with it now, well, I'll leave my opinions to myself on that one, okay? I do not want to open that can of worms tonight. But the point is, it's true for all of us, too. It's true for all of us. Everyone sitting in these seats tonight has so far survived the tyranny and cruelty of addiction, depression, abuse, and worse. Congratulations. I am so glad that you're here. We're sitting in these seats because even now we're being freed from the rule and the reign of alcohol and drugs and unhealthy relationships and sex and all sorts of other oppressors that have been keeping us down for so long. Now here we are in recovery, looking at freedom in the face. How are we going to get it? And what are we going to do with it once we get it? That's the question, isn't it? And that all depends on what choices we make now, doesn't it? Tonight, I want to be giving you part 2 of our new message series called What is Choose Recovery? This is a new thing that we've been trying, giving a series of lessons that go together with each other rather than teaching on different things every other week. So this is part 2 of an 8-part series, and in between the lesson weeks, we're still going to have testimonies just like usual because testimony weeks are so important. In fact, testimonies remind us of how recovery works and plays out, not in theory, but in real time, in real life, in people's lives. Testimonies give us hope. So we're still going to hear from people about how their lives have been changed in recovery. I mean, we're never going to change that. But between those will be these lessons, and now we're going to talk about what is Choose Recovery. You know, every Monday, somebody gets up here and reads, what is Choose Recovery? In fact, tonight, Ashley read it. Ashley came up and read, what is Choose Recovery? And you chimed in, remember, with Jesus, trust him, 12 steps, work them, and, you know, all that stuff that we say. But we really want to take a look at what we're reading, because within that reading is the pathway to a new way of life through the arch of freedom. Let's read What is Choose Recovery together tonight, the whole thing together. By the end of this 8 weeks, I want everyone to have it memorized, the whole thing. So it's on the screen. Go. We are a group of people who freely admit that we struggle with addictions, afflictions, and compulsive behaviors, who gather together to choose recovery through a growing trust in Jesus, who guides us to freedom by following a simple recovery path. No matter where you've been or what you have done, you are welcome here. Together we can find new purpose and joy as we choose recovery. When we choose recovery, there are 5 essentials that we can embrace so our recovery is permanent, growing, and joy-filled. Jesus, trust him, 12 steps, work them, sponsor, get one, meetings, attend them, service, do it. Our Choose Recovery program is not meant to be your only place of recovery. We strongly suggest you also attend traditional 12-step recovery programs. Welcome to a new way of life. That's right, woohoo. Okay, cool, great, did a good job. So 2 weeks ago, we looked at the first part, talking about us being a group of people who are honest with each other about what ails us and who are unified in our healing. Read that part with me again. It's the part that's in yellow. Now go. We are a group of people who freely admit that we struggle with addictions, afflictions, and compulsive behaviors, who gather together. Okay, stop. Stop right there. Today, we're going to continue on to the next part. So I want you to only read the highlighted part with me. Okay, only the highlighted part. Go to the next slide. Go. To choose recovery. Okay, stop there. Stop there. To choose recovery. To choose recovery. Tonight we're going to talk about what it means to choose recovery. We're going to talk about choosing and choices today. And this is a good thing for us to talk about, considering our whole program is based on it, right? But what exactly is choice, and what does choosing mean? I think us folks in recovery get messed up with thinking about what choice really means, because there are things that we have choice over, and then there are things that we don't have choice over. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Meanwhile, I actually looked up the meanings of choose and choice. And of the many ways to look at it, the ones that spoke to me were this, that choice means my options, right? And to choose means having the power to pick that option, right? In other words, if I look at a cheesecake and a bowl of salad, my choices to eat are between cheesecake and salad. Those are my options, right? To me, that's a no-brainer. Okay, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to choose the cheesecake, okay? Because I have the power to pick that choice, right? Goodbye to wearing a swimsuit this summer. Hello to an extra hour on the treadmill, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Cheesecake it is. So we're going to talk about choice and choosing today. Whenever I think of the word choices, I think about like this is the vision I get in my mind. I think about like a new agey kind of parent saying to their small child, make good choices. You know, haven't you heard that? Make good choices. Oh my gosh. In that voice too, right? Make good choices. Now, I'm positive that my parents have never told me make good choices in that voice. Honestly, I don't remember ever thinking about choices when I was a kid. I never thought about choices. Or when I was an adult, for that matter, I never thought about it. I never thought about what I did. There was some situation in front of me, so I did something in reaction to that, and then which led me to another situation that happened because of that, and so I did something in reaction to that, and that led me to something else, and so forth and so on. That's how I lived. I never remember actually sitting back and thinking about what choices I was making, or being intentional about what choice led me to what place that I was going to end up. So I know for me, I need to hear about choices and choosing, even if it is in that sing-song mommy voice. Make good choices, right? In recovery, we want to be clear about our choices and what we have the power to choose and what we don't. And what we don't. Because misunderstanding which can be the difference between freedom and bondage for all of us, and life and death for some of us. In the Bible, we read how God is rooting for us to choose the choices that lead to life. In fact, you can read it with me. It's on the screen, Deuteronomy 30:19. This is what God says, "Go. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live." We want to live today. That's why we're all here. We want to live. So since we're a group of people who are honest about our struggles, unified in our journey, let's ask this next question today. What good choices can I choose in recovery? What good choices can I choose in recovery? And before we get on to an answer about that particular question, let's be clear first, perfectly clear, about what we don't have choice over today. We can find that in step 1 of our program of recovery that says this. It's on the screen. Read it with me. Go. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors and that our lives had become unmanageable. And here's the Bible verse we just read before that goes with it. Let's read it again. Romans 7:18. Go. And I know that nothing good lives in me. That is in my sinful nature. I want to do what is right, but I can't. Okay, so from this, it's clear that we don't have choice over our addiction or compulsive behavior. You know, in the Bible, the Apostle Paul puts it perfectly when he says he just can't do the right thing no matter how much he tries. That's the definition of powerless, right there. The definition of powerless is lacking the power. Lacking the power, considering that choosing means having the power to pick an option, then step 1 is the anti-choice, right? Step 1 is the anti-choice. Step 1 says we got no choice over using. So choosing recovery doesn't mean choose not to use. We've tried that. We tried that. It failed us miserably, right? It doesn't work. And that goes for whether using means your food or porn or drugs or people, whatever brought us here. We can't choose not to use. The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous puts it this way on page 24, where it says this about our choice. It says, the fact is that most alcoholics, for reasons yet obscure, have lost the power of choice in drink. And then this about the likelihood of our ever getting that choice back, page 30, it says, we're like men who have lost their legs. They never grow new ones. Well, that's clear. And that's why I get so terrified when people in the rooms of recovery share that they are choosing not to drink and use today. I want to ask them, really? What, really? How did you get that choice back to do that? How did you do that? We can't choose not to use. Because if we could, that would be really easy. We'd be like, oh, I shouldn't do that anymore. That was easy. Okay, I'll go home and just not do that. Our parents and loved ones have been scratching their heads and wringing their hands for years, wondering why we didn't just make good choices, right, when it comes to using drugs and alcohol, right, substances and compulsions. Well, we didn't because we couldn't. We couldn't choose it. So we can't choose not to use, okay? We can't do that. But that doesn't mean that we have no choice when it comes to our recovery. We have plenty of choices. We just need to know which we have the power to select. And that's why we say, today I choose recovery, because we can choose the recovery practices that will make us recover. So back to our question. What good choices can I choose in recovery? So let's look at a few answers. You have a handout in front of you. There's a couple of fill in the blanks. You can follow along if you want to. When we choose these options that we're going to talk about, we can begin to experience freedom that we didn't have before. And here's the first choice, fill in the blank, number 1. I can choose to go to a meeting instead of choosing to go other places. I can choose to go to a meeting instead of choosing to go other places. So, this is completely within our power to do. Remember our Bible verse, right? God is pleading with us here to make the right choices. In fact, it's on the screen. Let's read it together again. Go. Today, I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice that you make. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. Now, I said you can go to a meeting instead of going to other places for a reason. I said that for a reason. Because we all know we used to go to bad places before recovery, right? We know that. We went to trap houses, we went to pimps, we went back to abusive relationships, we went to casinos, we went to our beds and covered up our heads, we went to doctors to get prescriptions, right? I mean, going to a meeting instead of going to those places is a very obvious good thing. Please do that. A meeting is going to give you companionship, it's going to give you better friends, you're going to learn better things to help you recover when you go to a meeting than going to those places. But there are other places that we go to that we sometimes choose even when we ought to choose to go to a meeting. We choose to go home and watch TV. We go over to a friend's house and hang out. We can even choose to go to work and school and sometimes even vacations. These are all nice places to go. They're great places to go. But we still need to remember that choosing recovery really means making good choices for our recovery, which includes choosing a meeting. The good choice of going to a meeting means trying to arrange your work schedule to allow for meetings. It means choosing to go to inconvenient meetings when the work schedule can't be changed. It means choosing to miss that TV show tonight and watch it a different time. It means choosing to hang out with your friends at times that don't interfere with the meetings that you have. The first good choice I can make is that I can choose to go to a meeting. And here's a second good choice that I can choose in recovery. I have all the choice in the world for this. Number 2, I can choose to listen to healthy people instead of choosing unhealthy people. I can choose to listen to healthy people instead of unhealthy people. I can put healthy people in my path instead of unhealthy people and listen to that. Let's read the scripture God is pleading with us about one more time. Go. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. Who are you choosing to hang out with the most? See, sometimes our old friends, even family members, they are not the ones who are going to further our recovery path. In fact, they can suck us right back into their unhealthy behaviors. When we choose to hang out with unhealthy folks, it affects the outcome of our recovery. Now, if you're not sure who is a healthy person in your life to listen to and who is an unhealthy person in your life to listen to, consider the types of conversations you have with the people around you. Who are you most likely to talk about recovery with, or God with, or positive things with? Those are, chances are, the healthy people in your life. But who, when you hang around with them, are you most likely to curse with, or gossip with, or complain with? Chances are those are the unhealthy people in your life. Choosing to learn to listen to healthy people includes getting a sponsor in recovery. Okay, a sponsor. This is crucial. Get a sponsor, friends. This is something that you can choose today, this very day, if you do not have a sponsor. And after you get one, use your sponsor. Listen to them. They're going to guide you to better choices all around. Getting a sponsor to work through all the choices in your life, including what kind of people you're hanging around with and not hanging around with, is a wise idea. Choosing to hang around healthy people who talk about healthy things and help you to make healthy choices is a choice that you have total power to choose. It'll affect your recovery depending on what choices you make. Stick with the winners. Make good choices. And here's the last good choice that we can choose in recovery that we're going to talk about tonight. There's lots more that you can choose, but this is the last one we're going to talk about. Number 3. I can choose to seek God's ideas instead of choosing my own ideas. I can choose to seek God's ideas instead of choosing my own ideas. This is really the biggest choice we can make because God is the one who is begging us to make it. He begs us and begs us to make it. Let's say the Bible verse that God keeps urging us towards again. Let's say it together, loud and proud. It's on the screen. Go. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice that you make. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. See, this is where choosing to pray comes in, friends. This is where choosing to attend church and choosing to read the Bible and other spiritual materials comes in. This is where getting familiar with the big book of AA and other recovery materials comes in. These are all choices that turn you towards God's ideas rather than your own. You know, I once had a friend who said that he would call a sponsor and he'd say, I just had this great idea. And his sponsor would say, oh my God, don't move, stay right there. I'll be right over until you get over it. Okay, I'll walk you right through this thing. And that's funny, but another friend once told me that she would call her sponsor with a good idea that she had, and her sponsor would say, don't worry, just hang in. It'll die of loneliness if it's a good idea. It's funny stuff. This is funny stuff, okay? It's funny stuff, but it's true. See, my ideas got me nowhere. I need to be willing to take God's ideas instead to learn what they are because God loves me and only God knows what's best for me. You know, God has a better plan for me than I have. Read this with me, what God has in store for you and for me from Jeremiah 29:11 through 12. Let's read it together. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You know, as the band comes back up to play the last song, I'm going to end with this. You know, I'm making fun of mommy saying, make good choices. But that's what a good parent does. That's what a good parent does. And Jesus is asking us to make good choices because he loves us and he is rooting for us in our recovery. In fact, this is how Jesus feels about you, Ephesians 1:4. Long ago, even before he made the world, God chose us to be his very own through what Christ would do for us. He decided then to make us holy in his eyes, without a single fault. We who stand before him, covered in his love. You are chosen by God your Father, loved by Jesus the Son, and welcome to Choose Recovery, where we are together with the gift and the power of choosing the right choices. Make good choices. So in 2 weeks, we're going to continue this series, What is Choose Recovery? But meanwhile, tonight, the altar is going to be open. Come and pray. Anything you need prayers for. If you need somebody to pray with you, just raise your hand. Somebody will come and pray with you. The altar is open.